G'day everyone. Well, thought I'd do a video on a tool that I made a number of years ago. This is a draw bolt extractor. Can be used for suspension bushes, which is the primary reason I made it, or it can also be used for now I've never done this, but I know you can use it for bronze bushes as well, using the old bronze, using a new bronze bush to draw the old one out into the extractor. But this tool's probably a bit big for that. This is a EB Falcon suspension bush. That's the body of the tool. That's the draw bolt. That's the nut on the draw bolt. How does it work? Well, this is actually a really simple tool to use. And if you're really lazy, you can use a rattle gun on the end of the bolt and put a ring spanner on the nut. That way you won't have to do it up with the ring spanner and a ratchet or something. But I can't be bothered getting the rattle gun out, so I just use the ratchet. So if this bush, if you can imagine this sitting in a suspension arm, the circumference of this tool sits on the boss of the suspension arm, and if there was a hole in this sharpening stone and the bush was in it, it would sit there just like that. But obviously, so anyway, I am going to do a demonstration on how to use this tool, because I got it out primarily because we've got to do bushes in the front end of that Falcon. But this is a video on the actual tool itself because it can be a very useful tool. It can't do every single bush. Like some bushes you've got to press out with a hydraulic press, but this will do everything else it will do. So anyway, what's the actual body of the tool? Well, some people might know what this is and some people may not. This is a Ford Falcon brake caliper piston from the front brake caliper. Now all I did was I angle ground the top of this domed bit flat, and I ran it. It's not drilled on centre very well, it's a little bit out, but that doesn't matter. If you're anal about things being marked out and done really well, then I'm sure you can do a better job than me, but didn't really think it was that important, to be honest. It does its job quite well. So all I did was get a pilot hole drill, or a rivet drill, or a stub drill, whatever you want to call it. They're ideal for drilling through this kind of thing simply because they tend not to break, because you haven't got the length. You don't need the length anyway, it's only going through something that's probably 10mm thick. It's nice and heavy and thick. This is hard chrome plated, and yeah, it's really strong. So this will accommodate fairly large suspension bushes. Like you can see, this one's not a very big bush and it sits in there with quite a lot of room to spare. Now the bolt, fairly important. This bolt, now I'm not sure if it's a metric bolt or not. I have a feeling it could be, but it's a 9.8 strength marking bolt with high tensile washers that I used. I think they're off a crankshaft of some piece of shit motor that I had lying around. The nut, there's also a high strength nut. It doesn't say it is, but trust me it is, because the strength marking was there, but it's actually worn off. But this is off the suspension component, so that's how I know that it's a high strength nut. The other thing is, it's still got thread in it after using a rattle gun on it, whereas regular mild steel bolts, you'll use the tool once and there'll be no thread left in it. So this is all you need to make the tool. The bolt is 6 inches long, maybe. Be ideal if you could use a bolt with a smaller, with more thread on the bolt, with the smaller shank, if you like to call it that. But once you put your hole in the tool, shove your bolt through like that, then the bolt goes through the suspension bush, and this flange, or whatever you want to call it, of the tool just simply sits on the boss of the suspension arm where the bush is, and put your washer on it, you may need a smaller washer for some bushes, because the washer's got to neatly fit on the actual steel component of the bush. It can't cover the rubber, because the rubber flexes as it's being drawn out. So anyway, that goes on to where the bush is, and you just do it up and away you go. Very useful tool. Now what I use, and here it is, sometimes you'll run out of thread, especially if you've just used a cylinder head bolt. Cylinder head bolts are ideal. They're really just about perfect. They're not too wide, they're high strength. So anyway, see how you run out of thread there? Okay, well what you do, this wheel nut, don't quote me what it's off, it could be Falcon or whatever, just sits in there, and I've ground it off slightly flat on that taper, and that gives you more thread. So anyway, thanks for watching, and if you guys have made any custom tools for working on cars or working on God knows what you can think of, please post a video response. I'd be really interested to see the tools, and if anyone wants more information on the tool, anything I've forgotten, feel free to ask me about it. I'm always happy to help people, you know, because look, you can't really buy something like that. You know, they'll tell you to use a blowtorch on it or something, and to be honest, I think using blowtorches on suspension parts is not only poor workmanship but also wrong. Putting heat near a suspension part, half the time, if they catch when you're doing a roadworthy, if they catch the fact that you've had anything hot under there, they'll fail it straight away, because in Australia nowadays they're pretty hardcore about roadworthy stuff, and putting heat near suspension parts is a big no-no. So it's also irrelevant. It makes a lot of smoke. It's dangerous because you might set fire to the car. Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, it's 10 minutes to make this tool. I've used it on VS Commodores, EB Falcons, I've used it on Corollas. Anything that has a bush that's, you know, not a caged bush, that is one like a silent block bush, this tool's magnificent for. Yeah, thanks for watching.